Hi, this is Just C, Closing the Loop, and today's topic is going to be honeybees and flowering plants on your property. I think most people underestimate how many things can flower on your property if you just leave them alone for long enough. My backyard, I haven't done anything to cut it this year. I haven't cut the grass. The front yard we've cut once, but the grass isn't really growing at this time. This is kind of like the end of the dry season in Florida, and so the only things that are really growing really well right now for some reason is, despite the dryness, are the flowers, and the grass isn't really doing that well. So I just wanted to show you like what the advantage of leaving your yard alone for a period of time. You would see how many honeybees there are. There's one over there. There's one over there. This is there's basically two flowers that are doing really well right now during this particular time of the year. I don't even know what they are, but the interesting thing is that when the citrus tree was flowering, these flowers were here. These flowers were growing. I noticed that these flowers had been here the entire time. But the honeybees completely ignored it during the time that the citrus tree was doing its work. And that's because citrus flowers produce a sweeter, more fragrant nectar, and the honeybees love it, and they will ignore everything else. But now the citrus trees are not flowering anymore. That whole time period, the time period for that is over. So so now the bees are kind of paying attention to the flowers that are here, and so they're just all over the place. If I just step back, you can see how many flowers I have on my property. I mean, all those little white specks that you see are flowering flowers. Can I say that? I have, you have all these over here, and there's a bee right there. I mean, my backyard right now is like completely full of bees. Like everywhere you look, there are bees. Right? So it's just a beautiful thing to see. So you have flowers all over here. You have flowers all over here. I'm kind of looking at the video and I'm kind of noticing that it's kind of hard to make out, but there are a lot of flowers. Maybe if I swoop in a little bit, you might be able to see how many flowers there are. See, there's like flowers all over the place. So I mean, I'm like amazed at how many flowers there are. And it's just one of those things you might not be aware of. If you're used to cutting the grass, whenever it starts to look bad, which is typically a week or two, if you're cutting the grass really often, then you're not going to know what's growing on your property. But if you just leave it alone, you're going to be amazed at how many different types of flowers. Like right now, I mean, if I were to count, we probably have 5 or 6 different types of flowers growing on my property alone. There might be more, but the ones that the honeybees are really interested, it's only two of the types, but they also happen to be the most prolific. They're everywhere, right? So they're all over my property. And this image here, you might not be able to see it. Maybe if I come down a little bit, you might be able to see how many different types of flowers there are. Right? All of that, all those heads that you see, those little white heads that you see coming up, are flowers. And so what's happening? The thing that's happening is that you have you're basically sending the message to the bees that this is a really good spot to get food. You know, on my property right now, I would venture to say that there's at least 200 to 300 honeybees on my property, right? It's not a very big property, but I would venture to say that there are that many, because everywhere I look, there are honeybees. I mean, to the point where if I was allergic to honeybees, I might be a little afraid because of how many honeybees are on the flowers. I mean, every single bunch of flowers that there are on the property has honeybees. Here's another one right here. As I speak, right? As I speak. So honeybees are, your best friend. There's another one. Take a couple of steps and you're gonna see another honeybee. So they're your best friend. The best pollinators on Earth have to be the honeybee, right? They are so consistent. They're just such great pollinators. And to think that, just by doing the added work, see, that's the thing, is that cutting the grass is more work. And by doing this work, you're actually making it so that you have to do more work, right? So that's the amazing thing, is we have set up our society in such a way so that we actually have to work harder than we would normally have to have flowering trees and to have fruit on our trees, and to, so the simpler we make things, it's really kind of an interesting thing. It's almost like the more we get out of the way of nature, the better things are. Right. Here's a flowering plant. This is like completely volunteer, like it just came up. This is not planted. I just decided not to rip this up. And I made the decision at a time when there really wasn't that much going on here. There wasn't that much going on, but I just decided to leave it. And now it's become like this honking big old thing, underneath the acerola tree. So this is the acerola tree. This is where all the honeybees will congregate.